assume that you're here by the title. So we're gonna finally be able to talk about what's been going on in my life for the past year. I've had a stalker who was basically on the edge of committing fraud, and I just got word yesterday that it's over. So we're gonna finish my makeup, and it's gonna be probably the juiciest video I've ever uploaded. So get some tea and strap in, and like, let's just pretend I'm filming my own reality show, because this is real and this is real life that's happening right now. You know, a couple of years ago, if you've been here for a while, which I assume most of you have, I talked about my parents dying, and it was like the hardest and most traumatic thing I've ever gone through in my life. And a lot of people were like, where are you with paranormal? And like, are you coming back? Like, of course, but I was like messed up, you know, like, and I didn't want to be that person that didn't heal from my trauma. I didn't want to carry that around for the rest of my life. So I feel like most of the population doesn't do that. I feel like most of the population, I'm going to use Fenty baking powder. I think most of the population is just like going to try to just get on with, you know, the next day the best they can, and not try to fix it. And that's just not me. I knew I wasn't going to be able to function if I carried all of that around with me. And I wanted to be transparent with my platforms about what was going on, because I knew that it was going to cause a slight intermission between what Ghost Girl Diaries was and what it's now become and becoming. And, you know, I didn't want people to think I was, like, I just had to tell the truth. I just had to tell the truth. There was no getting around that. And I never thought that by me being vulnerable and being honest about my loss would cause essentially a super fan to come out of the woodwork and try to take advantage of that. And that's exactly what happened and what's been happening. And I didn't realize until yesterday how bad it's been affecting me and my content. Like, I had a really good cry for most of the day yesterday, because I feel like I've been finally cut free from this man. And, you know, I'm talking about it to bring awareness and to show that, like, I'm not going to live my life in fear. It's not going to stop me from moving forward. Like, I've been through so much in my little life that this is not going to be my demise. Although I did not realize until yesterday how much it's been affecting me. And I mean, I'm sure you've noticed, like, I was doing so great a couple of years ago. That's how I ended up working with Motionless and White. I got the attention of Chris Motionless, and, you know, he was messaging me on social media, and then I got to be a part of the werewolf video, and I've made some really amazing friends in high places, and, you know, my career was just starting to take off, and then this happened. And, you know, when someone takes away that sense of security from you, where you feel like they're watching you constantly, I hardly uploaded in 2024 to really any of my platforms. Like, previous to 2024 on TikTok, I was uploading like 3 or 4 times a day. And then when this happened, I was uploading every few days 1 video, and it was because of the way this man made me feel. So I'm going to back up, and I might jump around and bounce around a little bit. And I'm sorry if I do that. I'm still sort of processing what happened. I'm looking for my contour pen. I thought I just had it in my hand, but now it's gone. Basically, when my parents died, I came on here. God, where did I put the freaking contour pen? Like, hello, Krystal, is anybody in there? It's gone, so I guess that's meant to be. It's gone forever. Basically, I came on to YouTube specifically and my podcast, and I talked about, you know, I innocently spoke about my parents dying, and I talked about how my dad had properties that I was going to sell. That was an innocent statement. I never talked about specifically where, I just said the East Coast. And I didn't realize that there would be someone out there watching me behind this screen right now who would completely take advantage of it. So basically there was this man, I'm not going to say his name because like he does not deserve any publicity whatsoever. He was a super fan, or is. I don't really give a what he is, but a fan wouldn't hurt someone. So he's clearly not a fan in my opinion. But basically he binge watched my content, claims that he knew me personally, knew everything about me. And in a vulnerable state, he ended up finding out one of my father's properties. So really, in my opinion, this guy is like a professional scam artist. And he found one of my dad's properties and basically became a squatter on the property. We found out this person was squatting. The attorney had to basically go through like an eviction process because the plan is to sell the property. This has cost a lot of money out of the inheritance, which sucks. It sucks that some loser would cost me money after everything I've gone through. What a fucking a-hole, right? Sorry, I just dropped the F-bomb. And as if I haven't been through enough, right? As if I haven't been through enough. And basically this person fraudulently came up with a bunch of documents, a fake lease, found my signature online. I mean, look, I've signed, photos for fans before, but my signature for like, cars and homes is not the same signature as I do for my fans. But he had my signature. He also went and obtained the city and county records for my dad's property. He had my dad's obituary. He had all the information on my dad. He had my dad's birthday. He had everything. And it's like crazy because I feel like I'm private. Like I feel like I'm really careful with with what I share. I'm not hand oil. My hands are dry from the wildfires. I mean, they're not here in Vegas, but we're definitely getting the air. They're crispy. I feel like I really only share maybe 10% of my life online, honestly. I never share things about who I'm dating, who I'm with, names, family, friends. Like, most people in my life don't live their life publicly. I've talked about in my past marriage that, I had to keep my stepkids safe because I had stalkers, and people they were mad and didn't understand why I wasn't talking about my marriage. That's why I was keeping, children under the age of 7 safe. And this is why, because there are freaking crazy people out there that will do unlimited amount of things to just do strange stuff. And so basically he got my dad's obituary. He got the record. Like, this dude did a deep dive on me. Let's just be honest. And I've since paid for that company delete me to it's like $150 a year to take all your information off the internet. But it's too late now. I mean, this was before I did that, But, and I feel safe in Vegas. Like, if you've never lived in Vegas before, 90% of the communities in Vegas are like HOA guarded and gated. And I've always lived in a guarded and gated community, so I'm safe. I have security I can call. I actually live on the same street as a bunch of my veteran friends. I've always owned firearms. Like, I have hidden weapons in my house. Like, I'm safe. I'm good. I don't feel that. And obviously this happened in a different state on the East Coast, but this guy went to great lengths. And then when we went to court, I don't know what his goal was, like the only thing I can think is maybe he was hoping I would show up in court and he'd finally get to meet me, like my voice is shaking because it's just creepy to think about that. He had the judge convinced for a while. He had the judge convinced because his identification matched the address there. He claimed he knew my dad before my dad passed, which isn't true. That property was vacant. He moved onto the property, but it's just a big blank piece of land, essentially. And he ended up moving like a fifth wheeler, a couple of trailers on the property, and lived out of them with his disabled mom. So I know like a lot of people are gonna say, well, you should like go after him for fraud, but I don't think he's worth anything, first of all. Like, no offense, like, you know, he's clearly extremely low income, and like, if he's taking care of his disabled, I don't know the whole story. I don't want to know the whole story. I you know, I know people would say, well, if you took him for fraud, you could put him in jail. Yeah, but like, I just don't. This person may get his jollies off on the fact that I even took him to court. That's how he is. Like, that would excite him that I went that far to, in his mental mind, he would think that, like, he would feel privileged by the fact that I would even take it that far. So I'm not even gonna go there. I wish I could put into words how this has felt. I didn't upload most of the year. I really like jeopardized my financials in 2024 by not doing social media. And it was because this guy, every time he watched a video or binge watched my videos, he would take that information to court and pretend like he talked to me on the phone, pretend like he knew me, pretend like he knew me personally. So I just got to the point where I didn't even want to upload content to social media on any platforms. He was sharing information from TikTok that I was posting and information from YouTube, the podcast. And in my mind, the only way to like create safety and space to attempt to try to get him evicted from the land was to sort of just disappear temporarily. And it sucked because it hurt me financially by not working last year a lot. And I'm going to be really careful with what I share from now on. I innocently in passing talked about my dad's properties, didn't say anything specific, had no idea there would be someone out there watching that would do something like disgusting like this. But I guess like you just can't trust people, unfortunately. I was also just in a very vulnerable state when my parents died, and I think naturally I just wanted to share, you know, with my community what was happening. I don't think anyone prepares to, you know, have to deal with something like this. Like, you're not prepared that someone's going to be out there, you know, trying to take advantage of the situation, essentially. So anyway, you know, the judge didn't really know who to believe because, you know, technically my father's passed, and he kept claiming that my dad gave him permission to live there, and he knew my dad personally, which is a lie, and he had all these documents that were signed by both me and my dad, and you know, the judge didn't know who to believe. Basically, all of his identification, it was sucked. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was like, how did this even happen? How is this happening? And it just really put me in a weird headspace for a hot minute. Like, made me not trust anybody. It almost made me not want to trust my fans. Like, and I know I can't put everyone into that category, and I don't now, but, you know, and I've had stalkers before. I've had people show up to my house. I've had to put restraining orders on people. Like, I've had weird stuff happen, but this was like a whole nother level because he did such a deep dive on me and my family. And, yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I said that it didn't, you know, scare me or make me nervous in some capacity. He was like, in a way, using my paranormal career against me. Like, you know, police or even the attorney would go and they would check on the property. And he would talk to the police or the attorney, and he would say stuff like, Krystal taught me how to you know, investigate the paranormal from all of her videos and podcasts. And I've been talking to her father, and he doesn't want me to leave the property. And, like, basically he was saying he was contacting my dad, like, in spirit form. And talk about disgusting. Talk about a despicable human being to even say something like that. Like, the lowest of the low. You can't get any darker than that, you know? And it scared me, but it also had to go in and do, like, some internal work, because I've talked about this before. There are some weird people in paranormal, you know? Like, I always tell you guys, be careful with who you believe that says they're psychic, or, you know, the first red flag I ever see is someone say that they're a demonologist. I'm like, oh, here we go. You know, like, an actual demonologist would be a priest. They wouldn't be calling themselves that, you know? But it's just, there's a lot of red flags. And honestly, there's a lot of people that are not mentally well in paranormal. I'm not necessarily talking about fame. I'm talking about, you know, there was a case that this guy had contacted me back in the day when I was doing private cases in Colorado. And he had told me that he thought aliens were coming out of his son's toys. And after I talked to him for a little bit, I ended up finding out he was tripping on acid. And he wanted someone to come in and cleanse his house. So, like, you just have to be very careful. You have to be very aware, because not everyone is sane, you know, that divulges in the paranormal, unfortunately. And that's the side of it that sucks, because people that are crazy like that, or like this crazy person down, you know, with my dad's property, they're the ones that make the paranormal industry look like nut jobs, you know? Like, that's when people don't take it serious, because you say weird, outlandish like that, you know what I mean? So, but it felt like my own father was being, like, weaponized against me in a way, you know? And it just felt unreal. And I had to kind of go within and be like, if I'm not doing paranormal for the rest of my life, and I know I got, you know, thrown off my horse a little bit here. I know for the past few years, it hasn't been normal with me in content. I know I went through a lot, and I kind of had to take a step back, and I had to take a break. But a break doesn't mean I'm quitting or giving up. And then I was like, do you want to go back to work as a producer? Like, for the studios? I'm like, I can't see myself doing that. Do you want to go? I mean, if the series got signed, but, like, I'm also looking more for the series to be more internet-based. I really feel like cable is becoming eliminated at this point. I think that everything's going to be moving to streaming, and I mean, even YouTube at this point. I just think that the new generations are just totally moving away from television. Like, having a TV on your wall at this point is like a dinosaur, you know? And even, like, all of my friends that watch TV, they literally stream YouTube on their television. So I think that's eliminated at this point. But I'm like, what am I going to do if I don't have paranormal? Like, because it made me feel so icky and uncomfortable that this guy was using my own words against me. Using my paranormal career against me. I'm like, should I quit paranormal? And I was like, no, I don't know what else purpose I have in this life. I was given these, like, mediumship abilities from my parents' death. Like, what else am I going to do? You know, with my life. Like, I can't go back to cosmetology. I just started rebuilding YouTube. I love it. I'm happy with, you know, the decisions that I've made. You can't let this one crazy person, you know, make decisions for you for the rest of your life, basically. And, it's crazy. This guy is crazy. This guy is a nut. So when the attorney called yesterday and said that we got him off the property and it's done, I feel like I can finally breathe, I guess. I feel like it's been a really strange year with me having to even deal with this. Like, it feels surreal. I think that he became a fan when I was heavily developing gothic content. And I know I've touched on this before, but the way men talk to women who are in the goth community or goth models, whatever, you are objectified and sexualized, and you are not seen beyond that. And the crazy part is, there are some people in the goth community that post really, really risque stuff, and I was never that person. I never did that, and I was still, the messages I got from men were vile, gross. I like, and maybe some people like that. Maybe some girls in the community like that. I don't want to be talked down to and objectified. I want to be treated like a human. And when I was posting goth content constantly, I was just disgusted with the vile things that men would say. It was like, you were just a toy. That's it. And you're not seeing anything beyond that, and you're not respected. And which is sad, because I wasn't doing it. Like, the funny part is that men think you get dressed daily for them. I'm not thinking about you when I'm going in my closet. I'm thinking about myself. Even when I was heavily involved in the goth community, I wasn't thinking about men. I was thinking about what I wanted to dress like for myself for that day. And for some reason, men are like, oh, you're dressing like that for me. No, I'm not. Absolutely not. I am not doing that. And that was how you get stalkers and people obsessed with you, is, they put you on this, Morticia Elvira pedestal where they just think about boobs and butts, and that's it. And then they take it the step further, where they're living on your dad's property, and they've forged a lease with your signature, and they're consumed by you and obsessed with you and talk about you in a way that you're in this like invisible relationship with them. Man, the amount of stuff I've been through, what I have learned. So I'm better. I really cried for most of the day yesterday, knowing that it's over. He's gone off the property and now can be sold. It's the last thing I need to do. And it's over. And it feels like my parents' death has been just lingering on and on and on, and I can't end this chapter until this is done. And makes me feel like I've been dealing with my parents' death for literally years at this point. I don't know, I'm tired. I'm tired. And really, honest to God, I have missed posting on social media as much as I used to. I have good feelings about the TikTok ban. I don't know, intuitively. I just feel like something's going to happen at the last minute. It's going to be saved. I don't know why I feel that way. I just do. But I wasn't posting not because of that. I wasn't posting because this guy was using everything I said in court against me to pretend like he knew me, and he almost had the judge convinced. And now I feel like I've been cut from that tie, and I've been set free, and I feel like the chapter of my parents' death can finally end. And it's just really sad that there's people out there that will use and manipulate a circumstance that you're going through. Like, I went through some serious tragedy and trauma with my parents. And I did a lot of work to get where I'm at now, and to be healed and be on the other side. And to have someone use and manipulate the situation is just like, I'll be very careful with what I share online from now on. So, who would have thought that some scam artist out there was going to take advantage of me saying something innocent like my dad had properties? Like, I had no idea that would happen. I feel like an idiot for even sharing it. I promise that I didn't share it in thinks of that someone out there would have vile intentions. I would have never thought, like I said, the only thing I can think of is that he was hoping he would have met me in court. It's in a different state on the East Coast, and no, that's why there's attorneys involved, that you don't have to be a part of it, so, but man, this guy was obsessed with me, talking about me like he knew me. He'd also convinced his family, that he basically knew me, and obsessed with me, and it was horrifying. It was horrifying. Now we can move on. And now I can finally start posting normally again. And, you know, to everyone out there that's not a psychopath, thank you for being here on my journey with me. And I'm just going to make sure I keep myself safe and protected from now on. And, you know, any goth girls in the community, even though I've sort of taken a step back from it for this reason, please keep yourself safe. I feel like it's a difference between like being goth versus being a public figure and being goth. I got some really crazy people after me when I started posting goth content, which is what made me back away from it slowly a little bit. And like, you know, living life publicly, like I'm probably never going to be able to keep myself fully away from the crazies. But that was like exceptionally worse than it's ever been. And I feel so bad for the goth women. Whether you're posting, you know, promiscuous stuff or not, you shouldn't have to tolerate craziness, you know? Like, I wasn't posting promiscuous at all. Not that that's a reason to not have stalkers, but it's just like, see, I told you I'm still going through the thought process. So I'm safe, I'm okay, it's gonna be okay, it's a new day, it's time to get back on social media, it's time to live life again. And I guess I'm just gonna apologize for how absent I've been for the past year. Noticeably, I know a lot of you have noticed, but now you know why. Every video I posted, he was using it in court for like pretending like we talked on the phone. It was crazy. And now I can carry on with my life and I'm free. Catch you guys on the next one.